Hi, I'm Chris Avina of American Outdoor News, and welcome to the American Outdoor News podcast. Today, we're going to be speaking to a country music artist who shared the stage with some of country music's biggest artists, like Tim McGraw, Keith Urban, even Charlie Daniels. He's also the host of Outdoor Channel's Nick's Wild Ride. We're going to be speaking to Nick Hoffman, who I got to say is probably one of the coolest people in the industry that I've met. Let's hear what he has to say. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us today, Nick.
Glad to be here, man.
Appreciate your time. How do you go from playing with some of the most notable and famous country music singers to an outdoor show? You're selling out stadiums, got thousands of people cheering your name, and then you go off into the woods.
That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? I mean, it all starts, of course, with growing up in Minnesota and just being a lifelong outdoor enthusiast. I mean, I didn't grow up in a hunting family, but I was one of those kids that instead of buying a comic book or, even buying a record, I was buying Field and Stream with my money. I was buying hunting DVDs. I was buying, or VHSs back then, you know what I mean? And so even though I didn't have a hunting family, I always wanted to hunt. And I fished with my dad a lot, but nobody hunted. It was my neighbor that got me into it, and it took me on my first deer hunt, my first duck hunt, all that stuff. And so I've always been a hunter. Okay. And through the music industry, I started meeting people that I was big fans of, like Lee and Tiffany Lukoski and Don and Candy Kiske, and some of these people that I met at concerts that maybe were backstage or whatever, and I got to be really good friends with them. So my entry into the outdoor TV world and came through them. I would be a guest on their show. They invite me to hunt in Iowa or whatever, and I'd be like, "Of course, I want to go hunt deer in Iowa." Yeah, So and so bit by bit, I started making friends within the industry, and a producer named Mark Baird, who produces both those shows or has in the past. He and I were talking about outdoor TV and what maybe could be different about it. I said, I got an idea. How about we do a show that is like a Anthony Bourdain style hunting show, or go to a destination to hunt, but explore local food and culture and people and music and a little bit of booze and all that stuff, and do what we all do when we go hunting anyway. Find the best burger, find somebody interesting, all that kind of, find a cold beer, all that stuff. Absolutely. And so that idea kind of turned into a pilot episode, and that pilot episode got some attention, and next thing you know, I'm 3 years into the darn thing. That's right. And it's had a lot of success, and I'm just, if you'd have told me, though, I will admit it, 5 years ago, if you'd said, hey, Nick, you're going to be in your third season of a outdoor channel show, I'd laughed in your face. I never would have seen it coming.
Now, what was the most unusual animal that you hunted? I know you don't always go to the conventional.
Well, of course, my first love is ducks and deer. I mean, I've loved those two animals more than just about anything for my whole life. This show has given me the opportunity to do things that I probably never would have done, or never thought I would have had the opportunity or the just the time to do. So, I always wanted to hunt a moose, or I always wanted to go to New Zealand, or I always thought, how cool would it be to go to Africa someday? But this show has given me the opportunity to systematically just check my bucket list off. All right. New Zealand, Africa, all the different things. And so, and of course, because of the adventure component, going and trying some of these other different things, I think that's what viewers have enjoyed seeing, is the idea that, hey, I might not go to Africa, but I enjoy watching Nick go to Africa, and so those kinds of things. So I'm trying to give people
live vicariously.
I think there's a little bit of that. Yeah. Right. It's fun.
Now, what was the most unusual culture that you've experienced? Man. And what did you take away from it?
That's a good question. I think that, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Africa, right? I mean, it's so completely different than anything I'd ever experienced. We're talking about people that, there's one area we were in, I mean, there are people that are living in mud and dung huts, I mean, it's a completely different world. But if you take that away, everywhere you go, what's so surprising is that people are just people. It doesn't matter there's always a language barrier, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, if you strip the houses and the food away from things, I'm constantly. It sounds so cheesy and cliche, but in the end, human nature is such an amazing thing that we all really
Very basic.
we just we all want the same things, and I've been really inspired by that, and I think it's made me a better person to see that if you strip the bad stuff away and all the stuff that doesn't matter, these cell phones and the money and all these different things that we worry about every day, and you get back to just being a person.
No.
I think that's the thing I've learned, and I've really enjoyed that journey I have.
Okay. Well, talking about food,
Yeah.
you like to cook?
Oh yeah, I love it. Absolutely.
Who taught you?
You know, my grandmother was a great cook, and I'm Norwegian. I'm third generation Norwegian. So food and
Vodka?
no, you know, for her, she didn't drink much. It was coffee, believe it or not. I've been drinking
Wow.
coffee since I was like 10, and I'm still addicted to it. So thanks, Grandma. I appreciate it. You know, so I think both my grandmothers really kind of got me into cooking, and it's as big a part of why I hunt as anything. I love to cook wild game, and I love, my favorite thing is getting new people that haven't ever tried wild game, have them over to the house, cook for them, and show them.
You tell them what it is.
Sometimes I shot a mountain lion last year in Montana, and I had the hams and everything smoked like real hams because it's got the consistency of pork, you know.
Yeah.
And at Christmas last year, I served the ham.
Mountain lion.
Yeah, mountain lion ham, and served everybody, and nobody knew it was mountain lion until afterward.
Oh,
but I
sure.
try not to dupe people too bad because you don't
Yeah.
want to turn them off. But I love cooking wild game for people, absolutely.
What's your favorite?
My favorite type of wild game,
Yeah.
I love
To eat.
elk.
Yeah.
I love elk, and you know what I like about an elk? You shoot one, you eat off it all year long.
Yeah.
Several years ago, I took a bison in South Dakota.
That's
Now
on my
that's
bucket list.
good eating. That's
Yeah.
really good eating. And you want to talk about getting some meat?
Do you?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Feed the whole neighborhood.
And that's my favorite thing is if you go shoot an elk or you shoot something like that, I like to give it to people too. You know,
Yeah.
give it to my UPS driver. Here's a pound of meat. You know, and they love it.
Sure. Now, what really drew you to the outdoors? Not
Okay, so-
reading Field and Stream.
No.
Yeah.
I honestly think I grew up on a farm, and I think that some people are wired to be hunters and some people are wired to be gatherers. I believe it. I think that
I agree.
I think that we're it sounds maybe a little bit of, little bit of weird spirituality kind of thing, but I think I was just meant to be an outdoorsman. I think I'm not wired to be a gatherer. I'm wired to be a hunter. And that's why, even though I didn't grow up in a hunting family, I always wanted to do it. For whatever reason, I always wanted to go hunting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think makes the show different than any other show out there?
If there's anything different about it, I think it's the idea that we're not just hunting. And anyone who says it's not a hunting show hasn't seen it, because it is. It's hunting at its core, but it's all the other stuff around it, and the adventure and the travel and all this stuff that really what you're doing is you're just watching me do what I love to do. And I think that's what makes it authentic is that you're really just seeing me living my life and having fun and living my bucket list stuff too. I don't take for granted that I'm getting to go on all these cool hunts,
Sure.
and all this
Absolutely.
stuff. I'm living my dream, and I'm having a blast doing it.
So what the people see on TV is really just.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think you learn really quickly in the music business that if people see right through fakeness really fast,
Yeah.
And so what you're never going to see from me is I'm not going to try and be an expert. I consider myself a consummate outdoorsman, but I'm no expert. I miss.
Sure.
I screw up. I've scoped myself. I've done all the things that everybody else has
I'm a
done.
member.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're never going to see me trying to be an expert. You're going to get the good with the bad, and I think people respond to that because I mean, let's be honest. There's plenty of fakeness in all industries, and then there's plenty of it in this industry. There's plenty of it in the music business too. It goes on both sides.
No, not the music.
Yeah,
business.
of course not. So I just try really hard to just be consistent and be myself, and that's why sometimes if I want to have a cold beer after a hunt, I'm not afraid to show it.
Sure.
If I slip up and swear every once in a while, we've got a bleep that we can put on it. And
It's okay.
And I'll be honest, I've gotten a few emails that say you shouldn't show drinking, or you shouldn't cuss, or you shouldn't.
There's a lot worse things they could say.
Exactly. And I say everything in moderation, and you can't please everybody all the time.
You're not going to.
You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you balance family, TV show, music industry? How do you balance all that and keep everything kind of even?
Poorly. I do it really poorly, is the honest to God truth. I'm a human being, and I try my best, but I have an 8-year-old daughter, and with my an ex-wife who I love to death and is still one of my best friends. But I think that the reason I say that is because honestly, it is hard to balance, and it cost me my first marriage, to be honest with you. It's really, really difficult to find harmony between being gone all the time and a home life. And honestly, when you get home after being gone so much, it takes time to just readjust to being home, and it takes time for that other person, and then bring a little daughter who I just adore, that I never get to see, and she cries when I leave, and it's tough. And I honestly, it's a long way around to say that I don't think you do balance it. I think you just try your best, and you take a weight off of this scale and you pull it over here, and you're just constantly trying to rebalance the scale the best you can. And sometimes the scale comes whamming down on one side, and then you got to load up on the other side. And I think you just try to do the best you can all the time. But I'd be lying if I said I balance it, because I don't.
Well, I think a family dynamic comes in many forms.
Yeah.
It's what you're used to and how you roll with it.
In the end, the people that I love know I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them everything I can as often as I can. And I also put 100% into my music and into my television show and into everything I do. I try to, if there is anything to balance, just try and put 100% into everything you do.
That's great.
And that's tough,
Well, let's shift gears a little bit. I know we were talking earlier about Lyme disease.
Yeah.
You have Lyme disease.
Uh-huh.
How has it affected your life?
Well, it's affected my life in that it's ironic that the very thing I love, hunting and being in the woods, ended up, helping me or giving me this disease. Contracting, getting bit by a tick, and coming home one day and pulling that thing off and getting the big bullseye. I mean, it was stereotypical. It hasn't affected me the way it's affected some people because I caught it early.
Yeah.
And I was aware. So growing up in Minnesota, at school they would give you a little Lyme disease awareness thing, and somebody would come to the school and talk about it. So I knew what that bullseye looked like, but a lot of people don't. And I think getting a little bit of awareness out there for people to know what the symptoms are, and because if you catch it early like me, it doesn't affect you as much. But I have other relatives that didn't catch it early, and it can really, really affect you.
It's debilitating.
And I have to be careful, because if I don't take care of myself, I'll get run down after a week or two in the backcountry or something like that, and it affects me then. Or if I'm at SHOT Show and having one too many drinks and hanging out with people and staying up too late, for example, that'll do it too. So,
do you take precautions when you go out into the woods then?
I mean, the only kind of precautions I do, I try and take vitamins, and I try and eat well, and I try and sleep as much as possible. But sometimes it's just not possible, And I do. I beat myself up and don't work as hard as I should sometimes.
Yeah, so, people just got to be more careful when they go out into the woods, spray down with
that kind of stuff. I see what you're saying.
And,
yeah, no, I definitely do. I wear one of those rhino suits now. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a really tight mesh suit. That's helped. I spray down. I don't know what it is, but ticks and me, they think I'm a hamburger. I mean, I'll be right next to my camera guy who won't have a tick on him, and I'll come out with, it's ridiculous. It's nearly albino skin or something like that. Yeah, it comes. I'm not sure, but I do. I try and spray down and do everything I can. That stuff's not good for you either. But I think it's a
Lesser-
necessary evil.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely,
I think it's something that we need to bring awareness to, and
absolutely.
it's a debilitating issue, and
It is.
it's good that you're healthy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know enough about it.
No.
Sure.
I appreciate your time.
Man, I appreciate your time.
Thanks for taking time to sit down and just
Absolutely.
BS.
Well, let's do it again. And everybody out there watching, you can find out all my stuff is Nick's Wild Ride, all one word, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. We got a bunch of videos. It's nickswildride.net on the web. So come join the ride.
And that's our show for today. Thanks again for watching our American Outdoor News podcast. You could always go to AmericanOutdoorNews.com for more great interviews and stories. And remember, whether you're hunting the plains of Africa, hiking the Appalachian Trail, or fishing the Sea of Cortez, American Outdoor News has it covered. Thanks again.